The 7 best vitamins to boost erection after 60. I'll never forget the look in Raymond's eyes, a 67-year-old patient of mine. That day, he looked down at his hands and quietly said, "Doctor, I still love my wife, but I no longer feel like a man." Have you ever felt something like that? I've heard those words more than 300 times. From good men, responsible men, quietly hurting men. They weren't lacking love. They weren't lacking care. They were just missing one thing: the connection between will and body. When the mind wants but the body says no. When the desire is there but the fire has gone. The heartbreaking part: most men stay silent. They don't ask. They don't speak up. They think it's just the price of aging, but it's not. I want you to picture this: an old irrigation system that's failing not because it's broken, but because the water isn't flowing right. That's male performance. It doesn't disappear, it's just starving. The good news is, you can feed it again with the right nutrients and the right way to support blood vessels, nerves, and hormones. In today's video, Dr. Sam Wells will walk you through 7 natural vitamins and minerals. They don't just support better erections, they also nourish your testosterone, pelvic blood flow, and total vitality, all without hormones or ED drugs. This is the exact advice I've given to hundreds of men, and I've seen the recovery, both physically and emotionally. If you've been feeling like you're slowly losing your fire, drop a number 1 in the comments. If you're ready to get your spark back, hit subscribe on Wellness Unfolds right now. Because here, I share what most doctors don't say in the clinic, but you deserve to know. 1. Vitamin D3. Boosts natural testosterone and helps with stronger erections. I once met a man named Walter, 63 years old, a retired math teacher, gentle and soft spoken. He didn't come in with a big medical issue. He just said, "I don't feel like myself anymore." Not depressed, not sleepless, just slowly withdrawing from his intimate life. Desire fading, erections getting weaker, barely present. And guess what? His blood work showed something I see way too often in older men: severe vitamin D3 deficiency. Most people think of D3 for bones, but it plays a vital role in male sexual health. D3 supports the hypothalamus-pituitary-testes axis, which controls your body's natural testosterone production, the hormone tied to feeling like a man, desire, and orgasm intensity. A study published in Hormone and Metabolic Research found that men low in D3 have significantly lower testosterone. And trust me, this isn't just theory. I see it in my clinic over and over again. Think of your pituitary gland like the conductor of a hormonal orchestra. Without D3, the conductor is working in the dark, signals get mixed up, and the performance goes out of sync. That's when testosterone drops, desire fades, erections become unpredictable, orgasms feel dull. Have you ever woken up and realized your morning reflex is gone? That's not just aging. That might be D3 calling for help. D3 also improves blood flow to the genital area, which is key for erections. With enough D3, your blood vessels respond better. The flow to your penis becomes stronger, quicker, and lasts longer. Many of my patients notice a real change after just 2 months of getting their D3 levels right. But here's the catch: if you're low on D3 and you take it the wrong way, it won't work. That's why it's crucial to supplement safely, effectively, and with awareness. The general guideline for men over 60 is 2,000 to 4,000 IU daily, depending on how deficient you are. But don't guess. Get your blood tested regularly, especially your 25D level that tells you how much you need. I usually recommend starting at 2,000 IU per day, taken after breakfast with some healthy fat for better absorption. If your levels are low, below 30 ng/ml, bump up to 4,000 IU daily for 8 to 12 weeks, then reduce to a maintenance dose. Important note: always take vitamin D3 with vitamin K2, especially the MK7 form. This helps direct calcium into your bones, not your arteries. That's especially important for older men who may already have some plaque buildup in the pelvic vessels. And if you think sunshine is enough, think again. After 60, your skin loses 60–70% of its ability to make D3 from sunlight. So even if you're in Florida or California, supplements and food sources are still essential. Walter came back 3 months later. This time, he smiled more. He said, "I feel 10 years younger, not because of a miracle, but because we gave his body what it was missing and let it repair itself." Don't let signs like low desire, no more morning erections, or a foggy mood be dismissed as just part of getting old. You don't grow weak from time. You grow weak from hidden deficiencies no one listened to. Vitamin D3 is your starting point, and you deserve that comeback. If this helped you, leave a comment saying "I need D3, and I'll show you how to combine it with K2, magnesium, and omega-3 for the best results. Now let's move on to vitamin number 2. A misunderstood mineral that, when used right, can bring blood flow and stamina back to life after 62. Vitamin B12. fuels the nerves and circulation that support erections. I once met a gentleman named Henry, 67 years old, a retired mechanic from Ohio. He was healthy, no major conditions, ate well, and still walked every morning. But he came to me looking confused. Henry said, "Doc, I don't feel anything. It's not that I don't love my wife. I just feel disconnected from my body." That hit me deep. We ran some blood tests and the results were clear. Henry was low in vitamin B12, one of the most vital nutrients for nerve and circulatory health, especially for men over 60. B12 isn't the first vitamin people think of when it comes to male performance. But you might be surprised to know, without enough B12, your body simply can't maintain an erection, because the nerves and blood flow don't work the way they should. Let me break it down. Getting and keeping an erection isn't just a physical reflex. It's a team effort between your brain, nervous system, blood vessels, hormones, and mindset. In this process, the nerves in your lower spine and pelvic region are responsible for carrying the signals from your brain to your penis. Vitamin B12 is the fuel that keeps those nerves firing properly. Without enough B12, you might feel tingling in your hands and feet, reduced sensation in your genitals, slower reaction, or even a complete loss of sensitivity. Many men tell me, "I'm still intimate," but it just doesn't feel the same. That's a classic sign of nerve function decline, often due to long-term, silent B12 deficiency. And there's more. B12 is essential for red blood cell production, which carries oxygen and nutrients to the pelvic region. Think of your penis like an air tent. Without enough blood and without oxygen in that blood, no matter how hard you try, that tent just won't stand up strong. Recent studies show men with low B12 levels often experience ED earlier and have a harder time staying erect, even if their testosterone is normal. One of my patients, 71 years old, was frustrated because he couldn't stay hard during intimacy. He didn't have diabetes. His testosterone was fine. His heart was healthy, but he was severely low in B12. 3 months of proper supplementation later, he walked back in beaming. "I never thought a small vitamin could change my life like this." So how do you use B12 the right way? The recommended dose for adults over 60 is about 500 to 1,000 mcg daily, especially if you're showing signs of fatigue, anemia, or nerve tingling. But B12 absorption drops sharply with age, mostly because your stomach produces less acid to extract B12 from food. That's why I often recommend methylcobalamin, the active form, or sublingual tablets that absorb directly under the tongue, bypassing the stomach altogether. In more serious cases, weekly B12 injections, 1,000 mcg, may be needed but only under medical supervision. You can also get B12 naturally from nutrient-rich foods like beef liver, salmon, eggs, cheese, fortified cereals. However, strict vegetarians or those with digestive issues, like ulcers or gastritis, should be extra careful because their B12 absorption is usually very low. One key point: don't confuse real B12 with cheap multivitamins. Many low-cost supplements use cyanocobalamin, a cheaper, harder to absorb form that can build up in your liver over time. If you're taking diabetes meds like metformin or acid, reducing drugs like omeprazole or lansoprazole, your risk of B12 deficiency goes up. Get tested regularly and supplement early to protect your nerves. I always tell my patients, don't wait until you feel numb to start thinking about nerve health. Start nourishing it now. Vitamin B12 doesn't just help you feel more, react faster, and stay connected. It brings more life to your body and more connection to your closest relationships. If you've been feeling tired all the time, losing sensation, or struggling with desire, don't blame it all on aging. Check your B12. Don't underestimate something so small, because sometimes it's the smallest things that keep a man grounded, alive, and loving fully. Still unsure how to take B12 safely and effectively? Drop a comment saying I need B12 and I'll share a full meal plan and tips on combining it with other vitamins to boost male circulation. In the next section, I'll talk about a powerful mineral that many assume is just for women, but it turns out to be a major player in testosterone and blood flow in men. Don't miss it. 3. Zinc, the essential fuel for making testosterone. I remember a gentleman in his mid-60s who came into my clinic looking worried. His name was Gerald, a retired structural engineer from Michigan. He told me, "Doc, I read online that zinc is great for male health, so I bought a bottle of 100 pills, 50 mg each, and I've been taking one every day. But the strange thing is the more I take, the more tired and irritated I feel. My desire's gone too." Gerald's case isn't rare. After 20+ years working with older men, I've found that zinc is one of the most praised nutrients, but also one of the most misused. And that's unfortunate. Because zinc truly is the key ingredient for making testosterone the primary male hormone. Let me explain in simple terms. Testosterone doesn't come from thin air. It needs raw materials, and one of the most basic ones is zinc. Zinc helps the pituitary gland, which sends signals to the testes to make testosterone. Without zinc, the pituitary is like a weak signal tower, making hormone production unstable. Zinc also blocks aromatase, the enzyme that turns testosterone into estrogen. So if you've got enough zinc, you keep more testosterone active and avoid getting feminized. Studies show that older men with lower zinc levels also tend to have lower testosterone, decreased libido, erection problems, and sometimes mild depression. Ever felt constant fatigue? No interest in intimacy, or like you're fading from your partner? If so, you're not alone. And there's a good chance your body is running low on zinc. Zinc also plays a big role in producing healthy sperm. No zinc equals weak, slow, or low count sperm. That not only affects fertility but also your sense of manhood. It's subtle but powerful. But and this is key, too much zinc can backfire. I've seen many men take 50-60 mg a day for months, hoping to turn back the clock. What they got instead were stomach issues, nausea, loss of appetite, and mineral imbalances. High zinc can block your body's ability to absorb copper, another trace mineral crucial for your heart and nerves. Lack of copper can make you tired, and even trigger mild arrhythmia. Too much zinc can also weaken your immune system, making you more vulnerable to infections and slower to heal. That's why the safe dosage for men over 60 is 15 to 30 mg a day, depending on your diet and health condition. I usually recommend starting at 15 to 20 mg a day, using zinc picolinate or zinc citrate, the easiest forms to absorb. Take it between meals for better absorption and to avoid nausea. You can also get zinc from real food. Just 100 grams of fresh oysters can give you 30 to 40 mg of zinc, though not everyone eats oysters daily. Other great sources include lean beef, organ meats, pumpkin seeds, lentils, oats, eggs, and full fat yogurt. What matters most is consistency and patience. Hormones don't bounce back overnight. They need steady support from food, sleep, lifestyle, and mindset. And here's something I often remind my patients. Testosterone doesn't make you a man. It reflects a man who's living in sync with his natural rhythm. One of my patients, Martin, age 72, had low testosterone for years, but after eating more zinc, rich foods, cutting alcohol, sleeping earlier, and doing light morning yoga, his levels normalized in just 5 months. No shots needed. He told me during his follow-up, "I feel like I'm back in my 50s, not just stronger but more loving, more connected to my wife." That's the real power of zinc when used correctly. If you're taking a multivitamin with zinc, check the label for dosage. If you're already using a zinc supplement, don't double up by adding another multivitamin with zinc. Stacking doses from multiple sources is a common mistake that can lead to accidental overdose. If you're dealing with low libido, erection issues, hair loss, poor taste, or mild depression, talk to your doctor about possible zinc deficiency. A simple blood test can give you answers. And if you're hitting 60, 65, or 70, don't think it's too late. Your body is always listening as long as you listen to it first. Ever tried zinc? What was your experience? Share in the comments. I'll read and offer tips on proper dosing and how to pair it with other nutrients for the best results. In the next part, I'll cover a unique vitamin that helps boost pelvic blood flow, a must-have for achieving and maintaining solid erections. See you in the next video. 4 L-Arginine boosts nitric oxide and blood flow. Picture this, an old garden hose in your backyard. It's stiff, worn out, and water barely trickles through. Even with the faucet turned all the way up, the pressure's still weak. You get the idea, right? That's exactly what's happening in the blood vessels of many men over 60. I once asked an older patient, "What do you think causes an erection?" He said, "Testosterone." Partly true, but the real key, blood. An erection simply can't happen unless blood fills up the corpora cavernosa, the sponge, like chambers inside the penis that need to be full to stay hard. And for that to happen, you need a specific signal. That signal is called nitric oxide. No, a simple yet powerful molecule that tells blood vessels to relax and widen, like turning on a high-pressure faucet. And where does your body get nitric oxide from? From L-Arginine, a natural amino acid. L-Arginine is the first raw material in your body's process of making NO, thanks to an enzyme called nitric oxide synthase. With enough arginine, your system produces nitric oxide smoothly, opens up blood flow to the pelvis, and erections happen not by magic, but by biology. I treated a man named Robert, 67 years old, with mild heart disease, but what bothered him most wasn't his heart. It was the fact that things down there just didn't respond. His testosterone was normal, but blood flow to his genitals was low. We started him on 3,000 milligrams of L-Arginine per day with vitamin B6 and zinc. 3 weeks later, he came back with bright eyes and said, "Sam, I can feel blood moving through my body again and it changed everything." That's not magic. That's science applied the right way. The effective dose for older adults is 2,000 to 6,000 milligrams per day, split into 2-3 servings. Take it on an empty stomach or at least 1 hour before meals for the best absorption. But don't start high. Begin with 1,000 milligrams per dose and see how your body reacts. Some people feel slight nausea when taking it on an empty stomach in that case. Try taking it about 30 minutes before a meal instead, and be patient. L-Arginine doesn't work like a quick fix sex pill. It takes time to restore vascular function, raise natural nitric oxide levels, and improve blood flow. A bonus, when you combine L-Arginine with B6 and zinc, the benefits multiply. Vitamin B6 helps process arginine in the liver, making nitric oxide production more efficient. And zinc, as I mentioned earlier, is key for testosterone. Together, these three act like musicians in a band, supporting each other, harmonizing, and delivering a smooth performance. If you're on heart meds like nitrates, nitroglycerin, talk to your doctor first. Combining L-Arginine could drop your blood pressure too much. But if you just have mild high blood pressure or slightly elevated cholesterol, L-Arginine may actually help improve endothelial function, reduce inflammation, and increase artery flexibility. Studies show that men who use L-Arginine regularly for 6 to 8 weeks report real improvements in erection strength, duration, and satisfaction during intimacy. Are you taking L-Arginine? Check the label carefully. Pure L-Arginine is better than mystery blends labeled arginine complex with unclear dosages. Also consider foods that naturally support nitric oxide. Beets, spinach, celery, garlic, and watermelon, all great for boosting NO levels. And don't overlook the role of mental health and sleep. Chronic stress and poor sleep both reduce nitric oxide and tighten blood vessels. If you're getting less than 6 hours a night, that alone might be blocking your progress. I'm not saying L-Arginine is a miracle pill, but I do know from hundreds of cases that when taken in the right dose, the right way, by the right person, it can open a door that's been closed for too long. Have you tried L-Arginine? What's held you back? Leave a comment, I'll read them and share tips based on real experiences. And if this helped you or someone you care about, hit that subscribe button on Wellness Unfolds. I'm Dr. Sam Wells, and I believe that while aging may slow us down, ignorance should never be the reason we stop living fully. We deserve to thrive in love and in health, and that journey might just begin with the right dose of L-Arginine. 5. CoQ10 recharges, cellular energy and fights sexual fatigue. Let me ask you something simple. When was the last time you felt truly energized? Not just enough to get through work, but that real sense of vitality, mental clarity, and above all, still having energy to love, even after a long day. One older patient once said to me, "Doc, it's not that I don't want to. It's just that whenever I think about it, I feel tired, really tired." I don't blame him. Because fatigue isn't laziness or disinterest, it's your body saying, "My cells are running on empty." And one of the key nutrients that powers your cells, especially in your heart, brain, and sex organs is CoQ10, short for coenzyme Q10. This compound lives inside every cell in your body, where it acts like an energy engineer. CoQ10 lives in the mitochondria, the power plants of your cells, and helps produce ATP, your body's main energy source. Think of every cell as a house, and CoQ10 is the transformer keeping the electricity flowing. Without CoQ10, the current weakens, the lights flicker, and everything slows down, including your heart, brain, and yes, your sexual function. For men over 60, CoQ10 levels drop sharply. Why? Your body's natural ability to make it weakens with age, and your liver, which produces most of your CoQ10, becomes less efficient. To make things worse, many older adults take medications like statins for cholesterol or beta blockers for blood pressure, both of which drain CoQ10 levels without warning. That leads to a dangerous chain reaction. Low CoQ10, low cellular energy, weak heart, sluggish circulation, dulled nerves, fading libido. One of my patients, Ken, 72, had high blood pressure and cholesterol. Every time he was intimate, his heart would race. He'd feel dizzy and completely drained afterward. We tested his blood. His CoQ10 was very low. After taking 100 milligrams daily of the ubiquinol form, the more active version, for 6 weeks, his results were incredible. Ken said. "I'm no longer wiped out after intimacy. I actually feel young again." That might sound small, but for men over 60, just feeling less drained, keeping a steady heartbeat, and being confident in the bedroom, that's a huge win. CoQ10 isn't a quick fix pill like Viagra, but it's the foundation for long-lasting sexual health. It strengthens the heart to pump blood more powerfully. It supports brain and nerve cells, so signals of pleasure and connection stay sharp. It shields the testicles from oxidative stress, keeping natural testosterone from declining too fast. The recommended dose for older adults is 100 to 200 milligrams daily, ideally as ubiquinol. Since it's absorbed far better than the cheaper ubiquinone, take it after a meal with a little fat, like olive oil or avocado, since CoQ10 is fat soluble. If you're on statins or heart meds, you likely need CoQ10, and many cardiologists now recommend it as part of routine care. Another plus, CoQ10 is very safe, with virtually no side effects when used properly, and you can take it long-term without needing breaks. I also suggest adding CoQ10-rich foods to your meals: beef heart, liver, mackerel, salmon, eggs, butter, peanuts, walnuts. But for most older adults, supplements are still needed to hit therapeutic levels. Here's what I want you to remember. Feeling tired after 60 isn't always just aging. Sometimes, it's your cells quietly calling for help. By giving them what they need, like CoQ10, you're not just adding years to your life. You're adding life to your years. Have you tried CoQ10? Are you on statins but never checked your CoQ10 levels? Drop a comment, I'll be here to help. And if this video might help someone you care about, share it. And hit subscribe on Wellness Unfolds, where I, Dr. Sam Wells, keep sharing truths that too often go unsaid. Because after 60, good health doesn't come from luck or magic. It comes from the little things you do daily, like taking the right dose of CoQ10 at the right time, for the right reasons. 6. Vitamin E shields your testicles and protects your sperm. I still remember the first time I met Louis, a 68-year-old man with tired eyes and a soft, almost hesitant voice, like he'd been holding something in for far too long. He said, "Doc, I still love my wife deeply, but every time we're close, I just feel winded, like the fire's gone." Then he looked down and whispered, "I don't feel like a real man anymore." I didn't rush to write a prescription. I asked about his sleep, his medications, his diet, and more importantly, if he'd ever taken any vitamins. He told me, "I heard vitamin E is good for the skin, so I take a few capsules a day. But I haven't felt any different." I smiled. Not because he was wrong, but because he was actually doing something right. Just not in the right way. Vitamin E, when used correctly, is one of the most loyal allies for male sexual health after 60. It's not a hormone. It doesn't work overnight. It won't shock your system. But what it does quietly is something crucial. It protects your reproductive cells from daily damage. See, your sex glands, especially your testicles, are incredibly vulnerable to oxidative stress. Every day, your body produces free radicals from digestion, processed food, smoking, alcohol, pollution, even just aging, and those free radicals attack the testicles, damaging Leydig cells, which make testosterone, and Sertoli cells, which nourish sperm. The result? Lower hormone production, poorer sperm quality, diminished desire, and slowly, a creeping sense of powerlessness physically and emotionally. That's why vitamin E, especially the natural alpha tocopherol form, is like a bodyguard for your vitality. It fights off cell oxidation, prevents chronic inflammation in your reproductive tissues, and protects the membrane around your sperm from breaking down. One study in fertility and sterility found that men who took 200 to 400 IU of vitamin E daily for 3 months saw significant improvements in both sperm count and movement. Other studies showed that combining vitamin E with selenium and zinc could cut age-related male infertility significantly. But remember, dose matters. After 60, the safe daily intake of vitamin E is 100 to 300 IU, ideally from natural sources. Labeled D-alpha tocopherol. Do not exceed 400 IU per day unless directed by a doctor. Going too high can thin your blood and affect clotting, especially if you're on aspirin or warfarin. Since vitamin E is fat soluble, take it after a meal with healthy fat like olive oil, avocado, or nuts. Not a fan of pills. You can also get vitamin E from food. Sunflower seeds, almonds, avocado, spinach, salmon, egg yolks. These aren't just high in vitamin E. They're rich in good fats that support heart health and hormone balance too. I once suggested that Louis start with 200 IU of vitamin E daily, paired with breakfast, maybe eggs and a spoonful of olive oil, and added zinc and CoQ10 to the mix. 3 months later, he returned. His eyes looked brighter. All he said was, "Thank you, Doc, I feel like myself again." You see, sometimes you don't need hormones or heavy medications. You just need to nourish the cells properly, protect what's already alive inside you, and trust the body to bounce back. Too often, vitamin E is dismissed as just for skin or aging, but for men over 60, it can be a true protector of manhood. If you use it right, I always remind my patients, you don't lose your masculinity because of age. You lose it when you stop caring for it. So if you've been feeling winded, uninspired, or just not quite yourself lately, start small. A capsule of vitamin E, an avocado, a well-rounded breakfast. Your body still has that spark. It just needs the right care to bring it out again. Have you ever taken vitamin E? What dose? And when during the day, drop a comment, I'll respond and help you adjust if needed. And if this video feels helpful, share it with a friend, a brother, a husband, or a father you care about. We don't need to hide from aging. We just need to face it wisely. Don't forget to subscribe to Wellness Unfolds, where I, Dr. Sam Wells, share honest, no nonsense health guidance made for you. No hype, no scare tactics, just real talk that helps you live well at every age. 7. Selenium. Supports sperm and soothes inflammation in the pelvis. One spring afternoon at the clinic, I met Greg, 64, a well-composed man who was carrying a quiet concern. I feel like I'm healthy. I walk every morning, eat reasonably well. But lately, something feels off. My drive is down. My energy too. Sleep's okay. But it's like something inside has shut off. Am I just slipping for good? So I asked him a simple question. When was the last time you checked your selenium levels? He didn't answer, just paused. That silence isn't rare. Most men over 60 don't realize that selenium, a tiny trace mineral, plays a huge role in male sexual health. And unfortunately, selenium deficiency is becoming more common due to modern diets, mineral, depleted soil, and weaker absorption as we age. So what exactly does selenium do for men? First, it helps produce glutathione peroxidase, a powerful antioxidant enzyme. This enzyme protects sperm from oxidative damage, preserves DNA integrity, and keeps hormone function steady. A study in biological trace element research showed that men low in selenium had significantly lower sperm quality in count, movement, and structure. Supplementing with just 100-200 mcg per day improved fertility markers in just 3 months, especially when combined with vitamin E and zinc. Second, selenium supports prostate health, an area where most men over 60 eventually run into trouble. Enlargement or inflammation of the prostate causes nighttime urination, pelvic discomfort, and lower sexual satisfaction. Selenium helps calm chronic inflammation, resists overgrowth, and keeps the prostate functioning well. Third, selenium plays a role in hormone balance, especially through thyroid protection. A healthy thyroid means better metabolism, stable moods, and a consistent sex drive. But here's the thing. Selenium is easy to overdo if you're not careful. The safe daily dose for men over 60 is 55 to 100 mcg day. Never go above 200 mcg day unless a doctor tells you to. Excess selenium builds up and can cause hair loss, strong, unpleasant breath, muscle aches and fatigue, digestive issues, and even harm your heart and nervous system. That's why I always recommend starting with natural food sources of selenium. Just 1-2 Brazil nuts per day gives you your full daily dose. Tuna, mackerel, beef liver, eggs, shellfish, and whole grains are also great choices. Pair that with a low, sugar, high, veggie diet, and selenium works even better. Back to Greg. We ran his lab. Selenium came back at just 45 mcg, below the minimum for his age. We set a plan, 100 mcg of organic selenium daily. Taken in the morning with a light meal that included healthy fats, we added lightly salted Brazil nuts and boosted his dinner with antioxidant, rich vegetables. 2 months later, he returned, eyes brighter, voice firmer. I feel like myself again. Not Superman, but not tired, not distant. And I'm no longer avoiding intimacy. I nodded, because I know this. A man's body after 60, when nourished right, can still be strong, energetic, and dependable. You might wonder, how could something so small like selenium make such a difference? Here's what I always say. It's the little things that keep us alive. Sexual health isn't just about intimacy. It's about energy, drive, the strength to live with feeling no matter your age. If you're taking a multivitamin, check your selenium dose. If you've been feeling drained, less interested, peeing at night, or mentally colder, get a trace mineral test. You might be low on selenium and not even know it. Leave a comment if you have questions about selenium dosage, food sources, or safe combinations. I'll answer everyone just like I've done with hundreds of other men. And if this helped you, please share it with a friend, loved one, or your partner. Health isn't something to hoard. It's something we share. So every man has a shot at recovery. I'm Dr. Sam Wells, and I believe this with all my heart. It's never too late to live with strength, confidence, and love. One thing I always tell my patients over 60 is this: taking vitamins and minerals isn't just about adding a few pills to feel better. It's a journey, one that requires understanding, testing, and precision. I once met a kind 68-year-old gentleman who brought in a small pouch with nearly 10 supplement bottles inside. When I asked, he said, "People say this one's good for the liver, that one's good for blood. Another boosts testosterone. So I just take them all." But his lab results told a different story. He was low in vitamin D, high in vitamin E, slightly overdosing on zinc, and almost completely deficient in selenium. You can't fix what you haven't measured. Start with the basics. Get tested. 1. Always test before you supplement. A blood panel is like a map. It shows you what's missing, what's too much, and what's out of balance. I usually recommend testing these 6 areas. Vitamin D3, the sunlight hormone, vital for hormones in general. Vitamin B12 fuels nerves and blood flow to the penis. Total and free testosterone, the honest measure of male vitality. CoQ10, cellular energy, especially in men who feel tired or have heart issues. Zinc, vitamin E, and selenium, the trio that influences sperm, prostate, and inflammation. Once you have those numbers, supplements become a science, not a guess. No more worry about side effects or wasting time on what you don't need. 2. Prioritize real food first. I'm not against supplements, but your body was designed to process food, not capsules. Most nutrients can be found in your daily meals. Oysters, rich in zinc, selenium, and natural sexual proteins. Beef liver, packed with vitamin A, B12, and iron in moderation. Salmon and mackerel, great sources of D3, omega-3s, and CoQ10. Eggs and cashews, healthy fats to help absorb fat. Soluble vitamins, spinach, avocado, pumpkin seeds, anti-inflammatory, good for pelvic blood flow. Eat right, combine smart, and you'll feel changes within weeks. Better sleep, more sensation, and more connection. 3. Sexual vitality equals blood plus nerves plus hormones. I say this in every consultation. A lot of men think, if I'm weak, I just need more testosterone. That's not how it works. Erection is a full body symphony. Blood must flow well, with no blockages. Nerves must carry signals from brain to body clearly. Hormones must be balanced, not too low, not too high. And your heart, not just physically, but emotionally, must feel safe and close. That's why sexual health after 60 is a holistic journey. It's not about chasing a pill or forcing performance. It's about nourishing your body from the inside out. Here's what I want you to remember. You're not weak because you're old. You're weaker because you stopped caring for yourself properly. And you can change that starting with tomorrow's breakfast, a simple blood test, or a decision you no longer delay. And I'll walk with you step by step on this journey to restore your strength and your spark, at the age when many believe that it's already behind us. If this message helped you in any way, drop a comment about the vitamins you're taking or anything you're unsure about. I'm Dr. Sam Wells, and I read every message you send because I believe this. When you care for yourself the right way, you don't just live longer, you live fuller. You don't need Viagra. You need to understand your body, what's missing, what's delayed, what's quietly out of sync in your blood, your nerves, and your hormones. I once told a 72-year-old patient, you don't need to become the guy you were at 30. Just keep your blood flowing, your spirit light, and your hormones balanced, and you can still enjoy a deep, loving, fulfilling sex life. And the best part? Your body is still capable of bouncing back even if you thought it was too late. Because sexuality isn't just about being a man. It's a harmony between your physical self and your emotional self, your hormones and your heart. If this video gave you even a spark of hope, a new thought, or the desire to start again, share it with someone who needs to hear this. It could be your husband, your father, or an old friend who used to laugh more but now stays quiet, holding in what he can't say out loud. Let me know what vitamins you're taking. I'll respond to each one. And if you'd like to keep walking this path with me, hit subscribe on Wellness Unfolds, where I share real stories and honest insights, made for those who refuse to grow old in silence. I'm Dr. Sam Wells, and I truly believe it's never too late to start living fully again. See you in the next video. We'll keep building not just longer life, but a deeper one.